Hello, my name is Kai, and I will be going over the invade mechanic in the game The Blackout Club, and also how to specifically deal with stalkers. Before you watch this guide, however, I do recommend a new player guide by another creator. They go over general gameplay that I might skip over, so it's worth a watch. The link is in the description now. Onto the guide. What is the Stalker? The Stalker is the only PvP aspect of the game and is an invade mechanic. Their goal is to record the sins of club members and report them to Chorus. After you have received your first invade, which can occur anytime after reaching level 5 and hosting your own game, you may enter the Stalker van. Entering the van does not opt you into the mode, only invading another player's game. Inside the van is a cosmetic wardrobe, exit van, and the mission screen. General information is given. You can buy Stalker dossiers for 250 snacks. This is what is used to invade. And you may also receive another for free by catching a Stalker, or TP King Total Party Kill a Team. If missions are available, it will say so at the top of the invade menu. It only updates each time it is opened, but clicking invade will match you with one if there is one available. How to opt out. To disable stalkers, you will navigate to the options menu. If you are already opted into the mode, a disable stalker button will be found here. Disabling will reset you to the pre-invade state, meaning you will be subject to another invade at least once. How to catch a stalker. To catch a stalker, you need be in melee range and holding the keybind for capture grab. An animation will play and a progress wheel will appear. Once it's complete, the stalker will be booted from the lobby. Common methods to help are the stun gun, tranking them, flashbanging, god rocking, or if they are relying on highlights too heavily, outsmarting by waiting out the highlight and catch around a corner or fall. When the yellow eye is active on the bottom of the screen, a stalker will also be able to see your highlight. Types of playstyles. Friendly. This is a term for a stalker who will wiggle left and right, drop items, and typically play as a helpful stalker, and will either record pictures when motioned by players or not at all. Normal. This is a term for a player who doesn't outwardly get in the way of the club, but may record them or sins. Ghost. This is a term for a player who never gets seen, only takes photos of sins when safe to do so and typically hide. Bloodstalker. This is a term for a player whose intent is to force the capture of a player. They use items to hamper and lock down players, force enemies on, and various tactics explained later. The community created this term to alienate aggressive players, and its true meaning is clouded in bias. After the story concluded and many players uninstalled, most stalkers are normal or blood. It is advised to keep the mode off until you can complete missions in succession. Even a friendly can drastically push to a bad scenario with inexperienced players. Field items. While the items function the same, there is different context and ways to help you as an invader. Foam. The strongest item is the stalker but lacks camera distortion that flashbangs have. Foam is vital to resetting sleepers or interrupting a player's actions. A common interrupt is jumping and throwing the foam at your feet as they are about to catch you, forcing a brief interrupt. Flashbang. The core to defending yourself as a stalker or harassing other players. Flashbangs towards the opposing team will result in them being blinded by a white screen and their player model turning in a direction. You can wipe the flashbang effect off faster by shaking your view left and right, clearing some of the fog effect and letting you make out shapes. Noisemakers. Use these to lure sleepers to an area. Make sure to wait for them to reach their destination before another, or they may split off in random directions. Combine this with recording a player can send the sleeper after them with little effort. You can also use these directly on a player to briefly interrupt them. Careful, as some situations can result in you hitting yourself with them while running. If a team is being stealthy, use these items near a sleeper to possibly highlight one of the club members. Trank. This is a very risky item to use near two players, as there is a bug if you are tranking one player, if another starts a capture, will result in an immediate catch. A trank can be used as a player is about to catch and instead stab them and possibly interrupt. At certain windows, you can pull a player through and into the new area. Each trank will slightly damage the player and drain their stamina bar. Sleep tripwire. When you place this, know that if there is a player nearby, they may hear this being placed, even on the surface, and placing it in the maze. When a player steps on this, it will drain all of their stamina, and any nearby sleepers will be knocked out. These bodies can be recorded, but as it is your own sin, you will not gather score. Godrock. These are items that when thrown will cause all sleepers in the radius to kneel. This can completely stop a whole swarm of sleepers in their tracks, and the most common way unskilled players can get cheeky catches. To counter this, the only thing is to wait it out, get out of the area, or clip inside a kneeling sleeper to possibly buy more time. The shape is not affected by the Godrock, and you may be able to stall long enough to force their retreat. If they grab a sleeper, it's best to move to another, as they will often let go and the sleeper will kneel again. There have been instances where a Lucid will stand back up attack, then kneel again, but very rare. Dealing with their powers, Unstoppable, the most common power and the strongest for general use. For the duration, the user has unlimited stamina and does not take damage. While active, you can hear a buzzing sound effect, and when used, it is advised to get away and hide. If being chased by a user with this, it's best to have a candy bar to rush to sleepers, as waiting out their timer is the best strategy. Takedown, a hybrid power where you can record bodies pinned by the leveled up version, but a power that's always active. A competent takedown user will hardly ever be grabbed by a sleeper and could easily remove two sleepers from the scenario with ease. There is not much you can do against this power, as it only affects the sleepers. If you are worried about the power being used, stun lock with foam or other items. The curse, the call also directly interferes with this power, crippling them a bit during its effect. Hacker, a player using this often will grab the shape as it is very sin heavy. That being said, a user can bounce the shape on locations using this power, and is dangerous in a chase as they can immediately render a speed trap useless. Having two sleepers after them will render this power useless, as if they call someone, they will most likely snap out of it quickly. You can also foam sleepers to fast reset them, completely nullifying their power. Drone. People using drone are able to knock out sleepers and prevent the stalker from recording them. They can lure with the UFO ability and can tase you. While in their drone, their body is vulnerable as they cannot see anything from it until they get out of the drone. This is the weakest battle power but can force you into situations if the players funnel tranq darts to the user. If they are doing this a lot, it's a good idea to target this player as they have nothing outwardly special to defend themselves. Dealing with their hero items. Stun gun. The strongest out of the three, when used it forces the target into a 10-second stun. It's rechargeable but does have a cooldown. It has a deceptive hitbox range and can be used like the tranq darts to pull you through certain windows. If used on a sleeper, foam is the best option as it renders the item useless. It's advised to stay out of their front, jump and curve around them in close quarters, or clip into a sleeper and they may use it on the wrong target. Grapple. It can hit you to stun, but otherwise it's used to go purely vertical. You can also climb up it and knock players off of it. Crossbow. Another common item and its most useful feature is long-range use of tranks. It creates less sin this way as there is no initial alert check from the sleeper you are tranking in melee range. If shot, it will damage and drain your stamina, the counter being a candy bar. You will be slowed briefly, but it will refill and you can run. It doesn't fully lock onto players, so you can dodge the projectile. A rare occurrence is a player using the crossbow to save someone from the shape. Dealing with club playstyles, campers. This is common where players will turtle up on roofs or unshapeable areas. The best thing is to find out who the shape's target is and lure him there by firecrackers, pulling in sleepers, or snapping a quick record. Hunters. These players will usually have one person camping with the shape's target while others search for you. Typically, someone will branch off alone, or they will be two grouped up. You can hit them both with a flashbang. Most of the time, these players lose from running out of items, or by luring them to an area they haven't made safe. There is limited actions you can do as the game's flow is controlled by the club members' decisions. Some lobbies may become unwinnable or completely unsafe. Sometimes it's best to hide somewhere or just jump off a cliff and leave, as some players will take the game hostage by no longer progressing or refusing to go into an unsafe area or go out of bounds. The Stalker UI. Once you invade a mission, you will start in a red door with a timer counting down. Once the timer elapses, you will exit the current door. Once exiting, another timer at the bottom left will start, showing when you can enter another door. This is your power as a stalker and main method of travel. The top left will show the sin meter and your score. Once the meter is pushed into the right, the shape will be summoned. Kicked indoors bodies and the kids themselves add to this, and any sin from alerting sleepers. When you first join, all already joined players will be highlighted, and anytime a sin is noticed will become highlighted. These highlights are key to your survival as a stalker, and give key information to where they may be paving. The mission ends when you are caught, they exit, or all targets are shaped. Tips and tricks. If you are new, invade and wander around the map, staying clear of the players and getting an idea for all the twists and turns in the map. Most of the time, sneaky escapes are just figuring out the safest way out. Common spawns for Stalker is host conditioning, signal relay, and dream therapy. These maze areas have the densest chest spawn and their nearby areas. Wait for your door timer before recording. There is a delay before they send the photo, and you can manipulate the photo by turning your view quickly, sending a confusing photo while also rushing into a door. If you hear a fireworks station, come back to it later. Some players may use these as traps as they give you items too. Never rush to these spots as they could have set a trap. Sometimes you will get caught. The game is pointed in club members' favor. You can negate fall damage by grabbing onto a ledge, which is also silent. You can eat a candy bar or use Unstoppable to prevent the fall animation and keep running. Remember to shake left and right to get out of flashbangs early. If a stalker saves you with a flashbang as a club member, move. The shape's hitbox is inside you, and if you do not move, you will be grabbed again. A tripwire can be used with foam to save a club member from the shape, but a very short time window. If you are blinded by a player and do not know where you are, jump while holding a direction. Sometimes you will grab onto something that will save you from them. How to survive a Bloodstalker. When you are dealing with a Bloodstalker, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. The first is that they may not care about score. Remember, their goal is to get someone shaped. This can even be by letting a capture start only to have the shape grab you off of them. A Bloodstalker will typically want quick matches, or if the opposite spectrum, will extend the game to gather high score by keeping the player alive but milking for points. The quickest solution is to flashbang them when you see them and rush the mission. Most will actively record you, pulling nearby sleepers and shape towards you. Having a stun gun or Unstoppable is the best things to deal with one. A common strategy is someone runs away from them. The stalker keeps recording. A teammate who has been silent sneaks up, flashbangs, and catches. Teamwork is needed to combat a Bloodstalker, as solo can be very hard to deal with if they get the upper hand, and will often prevent you from saving your teammates by hitting you with items or tranks. As stated before, if they are relying on the highlight, wait for it to fade and then move. Do know once it disappears, the highlight will gradually fade, not immediately disappear. The camper strategy works versus this if one player hides on rooftops while others search for the stalker. But do know most rooftops are viewable from red doors, and there is little hiding from the stalker there, should they choose to target that player. Being stealthy but also moving fast is needed as they break the normal meta of slow and stealthy. It is not recommended buying from many shops, but if any, just buy a flashbang, as a trank might allow them to stun, lock you into the shape. If you have a drone user, buy the trank too and give them the additional dart, as their bodies from the drone cannot be recorded by the stalker. Another thing to remember is a stalker catch is worth 400, 600, but the mission itself is typically over 600, 3,000 depending on level, mission, and team members alive at end. If a stalker will end your game, just exit. If you are new, most will have a god rock at an early level. Save this to help, but remember it does not work against the shape. Hopefully this guide provided some new information. I wanted to make as most new players cannot handle my playstyle and disable the mode. As I said, I do recommend it for people who are more comfortable with the game, as the current player base is typically aggressive. I do recommend the video I mentioned in the beginning, as they go over new player aspects really well. If anyone would like to ask me any questions not gone over in this video, feel free to DM me, but I am not officially part of the game's Discord server. Thank you for watching this guide, and I hope to shape you all soon.